Welcome back, Canon Faithful. Sunday means another exciting episode of Hunt the Truth, and as we've come to expect, this one does not disappoint. The episode picks up with Ben hiding out in his apartment, basically in a state of shock over Oni clearing out his former home. What's worse, the window for the freighter to Bliss is closing. Suddenly, he gets a call from Pharaoh. Oni agents are on their way, and Ben needs to get out fast. However, still in a state of shock, Ben begins to protest. He's given up, and he's unsure whether he can really trust Pharaoh. Luckily, hearing the voices of Oni agents outside shocks him into action. Ben is able to hide, and it initially looks like he'll get away again. Unfortunately, Ben slips up, and he's caught. It looks like this may be it for Ben when shots ring out and the Oni agents go down. Pharaoh has arrived, and like she promised, Ben is under her protection. Pausing a moment, I have to say it's actually nice to see that Pharaoh is true to her word. I had worried that she might have simply been using Ben as a means to an end. It's good to know that some insurrectionists aren't too bad. I certainly hope we get to see Pharaoh in other stories beyond Hunt the Truth, if not in Halo 5. On a related note though, I'm no longer convinced that Pharaoh is Ilsa Zane. This Pharaoh was much more concerned for Ben than she'd let on before. Ilsa Zane is basically psychotic, and I'm not sure if she's capable of such compassion. At this point, I think Pharaoh is somebody completely new. Unless, of course, Pharaoh is Ilsa Zane and she's just playing Ben again. Anyway, Pharaoh explains the situation to Ben. Ben is high on Oni's shit list and her movement is currently on lockdown. As it turns out, the Senators hadn't exactly acted on Ben's revelations in the way that Pharaoh had expected, giving Oni a chance to recover. As a result, Pharaoh's group is now going all out. She hooks up Ben with an untraceable datapad that links to safe houses and a sufficient amount of funds. As she prepares to say her goodbye, perhaps for the last time, Ben decides to follow up on Petra's lead. He explains the situation to Pharaoh, asking her to hold off on her final push until he can see what Petra wanted to show him. She accepts, and Ben heads out for the freighter. Under the guise of an aspiring prospector, Ben makes his way to Bliss. As it turns out, there is limited human activity on Bliss in the form of a silicate mining settlement and several outlying mines. Taking advantage of the funds and his phony backstory, Ben is able to get some gear and make the trek out to the specified location. Out in the wild, as it were, the glasslands are much more literal than they've been depicted in the past, with the land itself liable to cut you open if you take a wrong step, and dust storms of glass ready to cut the skin off the unprepared. Though the trek is fraught with peril, Ben eventually does make it to the specified location, though not without cutting open his thigh, and some glass particulate cutting its way into him just as a storm hits. Once inside, Ben realizes he stumbled upon a former Oni subspace communications station. Before and during the Covenant War, stations like these were used to help mitigate comm delays between Earth and the outskirts. Ben starts looking around, not exactly expecting to find much, when he eventually spots a blinking light. It's an active relay, an open door to who knows what kind of dirty secrets. Ben connects his datapad and starts looking. Through the relay, Ben is able to find pretty much everything he needs. He finds the second video Ray had talked about that exonerates the Chief. The Chief was only responsible for 12 deaths as it turns out, all of them terrorists, while the remaining 7 were civilians caught in the crossfire from Sapient Sunrise as they tried to kill Richard Sakibo. He finds the coroner's reports, which back up what the video shows. Though it's never stated outright in the episode, it would seem that Sakibo must have died from one of those stray shots. To top it off, Ben finds Sakibo's original request for additional security and the UEG's automated rejection. Ben has everything he needs to clear the Chief and to expose what the UEG has done. However, Ben didn't stop there. He searched his own name and the truth was finally revealed. A complete psychological profile for Ben, conversations between Sully and his higher-ups, and best of all, the truth about Ben's Oni-sanctioned interviewees. Gabriela Dvorak never stepped a foot on Eridanis 2. She had been on Dwarka in 2524. Thomas Wu, the prisoner camp survivor, had agreed to lie in exchange for more memorials and a campaign to bring awareness to the camps Wu and others like him had endured. Jacob Walker, whom we already know to be a fraud, is really named Paul Gustafson. And then we get Dion Govender. The man is indeed dead, and Oni had an actor portray the old boxing coach. Ben even finds archives of the actor rehearsing his Govender impression. Ben then recalls his talk with Anthony Petrosky and looks up the Spartan 2 program. If you've read Fall of Reach or Halsey's journal, you can probably guess what he found. Finally, he looks up John 117. He finds his complete history, from his kidnapping at age 6 to his augmentations and being forged into a human weapon. All of a sudden, something goes wrong. Corrupted files start flooding into Ben's pad. Luckily, he disconnects it in time to prevent any damage to it or the files he had already downloaded. But then the whole facility shuts down again, all except for the relay's light, pulsing now. Ben didn't go over the 72-hour window, so what happened? Did Oni catch on to him and try to shut him down? Or is something else about to happen in this long-abandoned facility? Sadly, those questions will have to wait. As the episode comes to a close, Ben makes his way out of the bunker and starts heading back to the mining colony with a renewed sense of purpose. He has more proof than he could ever have hoped for, and now he's going to use it. As I keep saying, these episodes just get better and better. Ben has the undeniable truth of the incident on Biko and proof of the terrors of the Spartan 2 program. So what's next for him? Next week will mark the final episode of Hunt the Truth, and the excitement is overwhelming. Undoubtedly, Ben will hand off what he found to Pharaoh, but what will happen to him afterwards? I can't help but fear that Ben may not long survive after this next episode. And then what exactly happened in that facility? Is something going to happen to it? Were Ben's inquiries flagged by Oni? God damn, I need to know. But anyway, that brings this episode to a close. Again, next week is the final episode right before E3. It's going to be a hell of an episode. In related news, I've been joining the crew of Podtacular lately for discussions of these episodes, and will be doing so again this Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Time. Check out the live broadcast on twitch.tv/Podtacular. Thanks for joining me as always, and until next time, this has been Halo Canon. Hey guys, thanks for watching my video. It means more than I can express in a few minutes of audio. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share it around on whatever social media you see fit, and all that jazz. Thank you so much. Your support is everything. I would not be where I am without you. Thanks.